Hunter in Illinois. You're live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about?
Hello.
I'd like to talk about morality.
Okay.
What about morality?
Oh, I'm not really convinced on either persuasion, whether there is a God or whether it's better to realize that, the atheist point of view. And my thing is, like, I think a lot of times...
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. A lot of times, morally, things come from, they come from, what's the best for the society.
Okay.
In the atheist view or some. And I think that sometimes what's best for the society isn't necessarily a good. And when I think about the Christian point of view, it's like the ultimate good is good because God made it and God is good.
That sounds like you just talked yourself into a circle at the end there. God did it because God's good and God's good because God did it. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of.
Could you see how that makes absolutely no sense?
Yeah, I could see that. It's sort of like, you're talking yourself into
right in a circle.
Sort of not thinking instead of thinking.
Yeah. So here's the thing is there are different places in the Bible that we can point to that the God character does very not good things. And so if you were to say...
biblical God. Doesn't have to be a biblical God. It could be a God I make up. I mean,
okay. Well,
it's easier for me to understand what is good and bad. I don't see why there's harm in that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I honestly, there doesn't have to be harm.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that Jiminy Cricket lives in your head and tells you what's good and bad, and you behave very well, and you're a productive member of society, cool. I think that is a very, what's the term, utilitarian or pragmatic?
Well, I think they're like utilitarianism is a form of pragmatism, but I don't think they're synonymous.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the better word.
I mean, pragmatic probably would be a broader.
Okay, that is the pragmatic. That is a pragmatic way to go about it. Cool. If it's useful to you, doesn't matter if it's true, just that it was useful. I don't take that approach. I think that whether or not it's useful, I just want to know whether it's true. And my go-to response for that is the whole, the Holocaust sounds terrible. That makes me feel bad. So obviously it never happened. Well, that's bad, isn't it? Hunter, are you there?
Apparently, I got a call from Greg. Call dropped. So give them about 20 seconds. Return to queue maybe, and then we can move on there.
We have another Hunter.
I think that's the same
no,
dude.
This one's in Illinois. This one's in Portugal.
One. Okay. Awesome.
Right?
Wow, multiple hunters.
Yeah.
The very first caller mentioned a group of hunters as part of the hierarchy.
I just did a help my roommate with a video about Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter.
Shit. Ooh, it all means something.
Yes. Hunter in Portugal. You're live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about?
Show recording is on. Dual channel.
Okay, well. With that said, it looks like we're having some technical issues, but that's fine.
Yeah, we're waiting for them to sort that out.
Maybe we can take that call in the Discord.
Yeah, I think we have time for maybe one more quick call once they get it sorted up.
Okay.
So I think honestly, in terms of, I think we're back now.
Okay.
I think we may be back.
We will see.
We will see.
This is great TV. Hunter in Illinois, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Good.
Okay.
We're back.
Yeah. So Hunter, it's very pragmatic to say, well, if it's useful, then cool. But I don't think that that's a good way to go about it. I want to know whether or not it's true. And I don't know if you heard my example, but I'll say it again. If I said, well, the Holocaust makes me feel really uncomfortable and it sounds really bad, so therefore it's not true. That'd be a real bad way to do that. So
I can see that because ignoring reality.
Exactly. So I if you find something to be useful, if you think that Jiminy Cricket lives in your head and you find that useful, that is a thing. But that does not mean that you have a bead on what is true.
Right. So I think, am I hearing you correctly in that you're just trying to find a moral system that makes the most sense with how you feel? Like, oh, you might not be 100% on board with everything the Christian God says is moral, but, there may be some things that rub you the wrong way about the idea of evolving to value well-being, and all of these things you're trying to find something that works for you.
Yeah, I guess it's more, a personal problem. I guess the reason I called in was because I heard about you, and I was a very staunch atheist for a little bit. That's funny, staunch. I shouldn't have used staunch. But
honestly, it makes me think of a very, very specific subset of atheists, which might be exactly what you were trying to communicate, so that's fine.
I was the type of guy, and I felt horrible about this afterwards because I'm fairly compassionate, but this girl brought a Bible in, and I said, can I borrow it? And then I showed her a chapter where King David got off a bunch of Canaanites' foreskins, and I said, why would God want a king to cut off a bunch of guys' foreskins? Well,
I don't think that's mean.
That's not very useful.
Well,
no, that's what we do sometimes when it's called for.
But you just want to make sure that you're not forcing somebody to have a conversation that they don't want to have.
Right. And you can be an atheist and be empathetic. That's hopefully what we're conveying on this show is you can have these hard conversations and demand good answers and still be a nice and reasonable person.
Yeah, there was a guy earlier in this episode that I said that something was stupid. I didn't say they're stupid, but I said that the idea was because it is.
Yeah.
You can respect people. You can have empathy. You can have kindness. You can care.
And honestly, Hunter, there's always going to be some kind of division or tension with moral systems. And that's because we're trying to find something that works for as many people as possible. But because we're all different, that's never going to be 100% possible. And so part of the experience of being a human and having empathy is realizing that there are always going to be those questions and always going to be those kind of tense situations. That's what makes morality plays so much fun. That's what makes TV shows so interesting, because there's always that moment, should I do this or this? There is no clear answer.
Unless you're Janeway.
Unless you're Janeway, then you get to fuck the whole timeline. But
that's a real deep cut. I'm sorry. This is your fault.
I'll take full credit.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that there's never going to be something that fits 100% with your personal conceptions, because you are an individual who is building your moral system individually with what's surrounding you. And so there are always going to be hard questions and there are always going to be tough choices. But the point is we need to be free to make those decisions ourselves. And we need to make sure that we are doing that in a way that reflects reality. And if we're doing those things, taking responsibility for our own actions and making sure that what we do comports with reality to the best of our ability, then we're good citizens, we're good people, and we are being ethical in the way we move through the world. And that's as much as you need to worry about.
Yeah.
That sort of goes into the idea of like, our perception is our reality, and I hear that, and I also think, well, what about delusion? And
I think there's a good conversation about skepticism to be had there. Ultimately, the notes on your call are that you were the note that I have is religion offers things we don't understand, such as morality. I think we do. Because it's a concept that we created, and Vi described that beautifully. So
we how humans create games like football and basketball. We're like, hey, life is really complicated. How about we just put a bunch of rules in there?
Well, and I don't think that they're arbitrary necessarily either. I think we're a social species, and I think that as a social species, as we evolved, other things came into play that benefited us, including things like metacognition and communication, and the advent of language and being able to do those things. Thinking about thinking has helped us as a society grow. And
I'm
what?
sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody got on Eric's case the other day for being high concept, and Eric didn't
God damn it.
understand what he meant. That is what he meant.
Fine.
So, Hunter, essentially, here's the thing. I love the idea of phrasing it like a game because we have to agree on a goal first, and then we make rules to help us get to that goal. So if your goal is to get the ball into the basket, right, then we have rules to make that easier to do and to tell you here's how you do it well and here's how you do it poorly and here's an illegal move and all of that.
And biology pushes us in the right direction too.
Right. And so with morality, if we agree on an end goal, hey, we want as many people to thrive as possible, then we can make rules for the game with that end goal and have an objective morality based on a shared goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I was also going to say there's like two sides of like humanity that sort of go against each other in some way. I think there's obviously like I think a need for purpose and a need for all these basic rights we've came up with, but there's also a need for hierarchy. And I don't see how we can have hierarchy and also have people, living their lives in a way that is giving them all their rights.
It's a weird. I mean, I think if there's any evidence that there's not a grand plan, it's that. It's messy, man. And it definitely doesn't show that they're all puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together, right? It's messy.
Right. And our job as secular humanists is to say, hey, we should be playing basketball instead of NASCAR.
Sure.
Right? Other people make up different rules. And what conflicts is when they say, no, we're supposed to be doing this. This is how we get to this end goal of winning the race. And we're like, we're not in a race. This is basketball. Right? So we just have to decide which game we want to play and then do our best to explain why this is the best version.
But hopefully that gives you something to kind of chew on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in, man.
I was just going to say one more thing, and that'll be it.
Hey, what's up?
I was going to say that also, like, the idea of, like, games sort of brings up this negative mind. It's like a manipulator whenever I hear, like, life being described as a game.
I understand that, but then we'll just find, that means that we as communicators need to find other ways to talk about it. That's all.
Yeah. But thanks for calling in. That was a really good introspective kind of question. And I think it rounded out the show real nice.
I think so too. Take care, Hunter.
Okay.
We have enough time. I really want to hop into the Discord because we're going to be moving over to talk. I really want to watch the nonprofits today. We got new hosts. It's coming on real soon, so I want to catch it.
And then I think Jenna may have an announcement on AXP, possibly.
Oh, that's right.
Possibly. Yeah,
Maybe.
I think that might be happening. So you might want to check in on AXP today. Just, maybe.
Show some love for Jenna.
Yeah.
All right. That said, let's move on to the crew camp because we have an amazing crew who works really, really hard behind the scenes to make this happen. Thank you all so much. There's the crew kitty, but where's the Lord of Levels? There he is. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for all of everything that you do.
Okay, we've got more than one cat in this chat, and it's making me real happy. One of these days, I'm going to have a cat in my lap. Just saying. Someday. Someday it will happen.
Okay.
Then there will be 3 hosts of Talk Heathen.
Yes, we'll get the cat like their own little microphone.
I am so down for this idea.
All right, let's move on and get some love rings up. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. I have the warm fuzzies. I feel really good after today.
Yeah.
This was nice.
This was a good episode.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. We love this. This is definitely the high point of our weeks. Make sure you stay tuned for the nonprofits and for the atheist experience after that. Whether you believe or not, if you're putting yourself in harm's way to keep us safe during this pandemic, thank you. You're doing your job, and we're going to continue doing ours. We're going to wear fucking masks. We're going to limit our interactions when we can, and
we're going to vote. If you haven't been following my voting saga on Twitter, God damn, you better believe I'm voting.
Yeah,
Third.
Oh no, I don't have my sticker on me. I voted the other day.
Yeah.
So damn it, I had my sticker for that show. God damn it. Vote. It's in 2 days. It's so damn important.
For those of you who don't believe, this is your community, and we're a mixed bag of all different kinds of people. We play different games sometimes, but we're here for you. And if you're wondering about how to get in touch, we have a Discord, we have a Facebook fan group, we've got the email, and we're here every Sunday. So you've got us in your pocket.
Absolutely. But for those of you who do believe, we
don't hate you.
We just think you're wrong.
wrong.
See you next week.